Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. Thank you again for tuning in to Long Island Matchmaker with the wonderful Maureen Tara Nelson, Long Island's only executive-level certified matchmaker. We're here in October, so a lot of today's theme is going to be about Halloween and scary season and how everything is coming up, but we'll also be talking about the dating tips of the day from Long Island's only executive-level certified matchmaker. So, Maureen.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you again for coming back.
Yeah, happy Sunday, and Halloween is approaching rapidly, and I am frightened to death of Halloween. So it is a little bit of a sore subject for me, but I know it's super popular with so many people. I have heard, even though I don't look at the questions ahead of time, I did get a forewarning that many of the questions have to do with frightening, scary Halloween.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to it and talk a little bit about. So let's talk a little bit about people who are new with their companions or possible companions, first dates early on.
New dating, yes.
Yeah. And, you know, there's been a lot, obviously, there are certain bridges that you cross, and if you're crossing them around this time of year, actually, as a matter of fact, speaking from experience, I did so with my girlfriend. We're talking a little bit about first dates on Halloween or around Halloween. So talk a little bit about, do you recommend that people go out on Halloween for a first date or around that time?
To a party, costume party? Absolutely no. Oh my God, there are a million reasons why you would never go on the first date to a costume party. So many people don't feel comfortable wearing costumes, number one. There are people like myself that do have an actual phobia with Halloween. In my case, all of my friends growing up used to get punished all the time. I got punished once in my life in 6th grade on Halloween. Therefore, even at this point, I just celebrated a birthday last weekend. I still have that phobia. So many years later. So there are other people like that. And also, it makes people uncomfortable because you're just getting to know them. So you want to get to know the real person and not the person in the costume.
Right. The person in the costume is pretending to be someone they're not.
It's not
right?
real.
So,
yes.
So it's more important to show who you really are and get somebody, a little bit more comfortable with you and who you are personally before you broach that particular environment?
Absolutely. And do not go to see a scary movie for a first date also. A lot of times people think that would make a great first date on Halloween. But it actually, everybody probably knows by now that just in general, going on a first date to see a movie, it's not conducive to getting to know a person, talking, and this and that. But to go to a scary, frightening movie, it really just adds too many issues that could hurt the first date. So stay away from that as well.
Right. Different dynamics. I mean, think about all the uncomfortable situations that come up in a scary movie. And people's comfort levels and tolerance levels are way different.
I mean, imagine you're meeting someone for the first time and you hear the guy screaming in horror. Whereas, you probably think, okay, yeah, the girl's going to be scared. Oh, romantically, she'll be cuddled into the guy's strong arms to protect her from this scary movie. But the reality is he's screaming louder than she is.
Very masculine, if you will, right? Now, and that brings us similarly to talking a little bit about if you're forced to, if you were invited by, your wannabe special someone who you see out on the horizon as the person you want to be with in the future, and you're going to one of these parties. We looked up some of the most recent and popular Halloween costumes for this year. So, yay or nay, let us know whether you would recommend them or not recommend them. But first, let's go. You think a funny costume where people make people laugh, or a sexy costume is better?
Well, it depends. Okay, so I would say for women, if you're going to wear something sexy, if you really like this guy and that's your personality style to be a little sexy, then that's great. For a guy to dress something funny, that could really come back to bite you.
Could be a lose-lose.
Yes. If she does not think that's funny, then you're done. So just don't do that either.
A non-starter. And what about scary costumes?
Okay, so yeah, for a guy, if you're going to wear a scary costume, that could be cool. Girls, don't go for scary.
Well, that's, I think, good advice. So what about a nurse? If people dressed up as a nurse or a doctor, those are
yes, those are really great. Those are my picks for costumes this year, despite the fact that it is very difficult for me to even say the word Halloween.
And what about 80s workout costume? That's a popular one this year.
Yes, very cute. I also say yes to that.
Shows a little
Being
fitness.
an 80s girl.
There you go. And last but not least, a clown.
Never. There are people with bigger phobias than I when it comes to clowns. Now, when it comes to clowns, you either love them or you hate them. You notice there's no in between. So I would always say never be the clown because there are so many people that are frightened to death of them. So
right. Not to mention that nobody wants to be dating a clown.
Exactly. Right? It is not sexy. It's not going to put someone in the mood. So it's a lose-lose situation.
You know, and that kind of brings up this new fad show that's all over Netflix right now that I know you've spoken a little bit about. And just to preface this in some conversation that has been had earlier on the show is that Maureen emphasizes compatibility and chemistry in the first levels of dating. So there's this new show on Netflix called Sexy Beasts.
Yes.
And for those who are listening today that don't know, it might sound very bizarre. I think a lot of people think it's bizarre. But they show up on a first date to try to find out if they have compatibility before they have chemistry, dressed in a costume, which is obviously uncomfortable. So talk to me a little bit about what you think about the show and whether you think that it's admirable or successful or so on and so forth.
Well, the concept is great. If it were to be realistic that people are not as shallow as they actually are, then it's a fantastic idea because it's forcing people to get to know someone with their compatibility. Once that mask comes off, instantly you're thrown into, is there immediate chemistry or not? And people nowadays are just very shallow. They're looking for instant gratification. They want to feel something instantly. But that's not realistic. That's in the movies. So I don't like that concept of this show because you know people are either going to say, he's hot, great, but then you worry about, is she going to feel that way?
Right.
And the odds of both of them looking at each other for the first time, saying they're both hot, it's just so slim because of how unrealistic people are these days with chemistry. And that's an issue that I discuss all the time with dating coaching. If you're looking to get married and say you're in your 30s and you want to have a family, you have to get off the fact that the chemistry has to be number one. Because next thing you know, you're going to be in your 40s coming back to me saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to start taking your advice now. Now I understand what you were talking about, that chemistry should go second and compatibility should go first. So, you know, all of these things are very important when you're dating and what level of dating you're at.
And compatibility, you say, chemistry can emerge out of compatibility.
It really can. The more compatible you are to someone, the greater the chances eventually you will be feeling some sort of chemistry. To prove it to everyone, try to think back of years ago or sometime in your life that you met someone, maybe you started a new job, and there was someone that you met in the beginning and you thought, oh, say in my case, it was, oh, he's such a great guy. Not attracted to him at all. Way too old for me. Not attractive. Not attracted to him. However, as I got to know him and I realized, oh my God, we're so compatible. The more I got to know him, I was saying to all my friends, he is so good looking. I can't believe it. My friends thought I was crazy because number one, they were not compatible to him. Number two, they didn't take the steps that I took, just opening up my heart, which is something that everyone, when you're looking for love, keep your heart open. Because if it's closed, you're going to miss out on too many opportunities. So they did not see the chemistry that I felt because I allowed it to happen and I was open to it. So, for example, Brian, did you ever have that experience where you met someone, you worked with them in the beginning, you might not have been attracted to her, or it could have been in college, any period of your life when the attraction came later on?
Well, I think trust is built, and I think that that's the most important particular component of it. Not me personally, but I do know, certain friends and things on, especially when you grow up with people along the lines of like your high school friends. They spend 4 years together, they graduated, they crossed difficult bridges as friendships, and then eventually that builds a foundation that they built a long-standing relationship out of. I think of one of my particular friends that exact trajectory happened, where there was a foundation that was built on friendship. They were almost polar opposites, but they eventually started to realize that a lot of the same things, whether it's traditional upbringings or whether it's...
And those are the inner core values, which is the compatibility. So they might have thought they're opposites, but they were probably thinking of things I like to do. Oh, we're opposite. Those are not compatibility factors. Those are hobbies and those are interests. So always keep that in mind too when you're dating, because that's a big mistake that singles make nowadays. If your inner core values are in tune, then you're compatible. If you have different interests and different hobbies, that's okay to have totally different ones. In fact, that's better, because now you might like going to the theater. I might like going on short trips. And, neither one of us like the other in the beginning, but as we get to know each other, you start to do the things that your partner likes to do, and then all of a sudden it opens up your life to learning. Yeah, you develop
a fondness for it, right?
Yeah, and you're enriching your life, you're learning more, and you're learning things that you would have never done yourself. But that person is introducing you, and that is what a great relationship is built upon, and that's compatibility. But again, you have to be open to it.
Additionally, and I think to your point, Maureen, is that you can find happiness in your companion's happiness. So if there are those differences of like interest per se, if I don't know if I'd go this far as a diehard Giants fan, but if I was a Giants fan dating a Cowboys fan and the Giants lost to the Cowboys, I don't know if I'd be able to particularly get over that. But if, hypothetically, the Cowboys fan, they did very well in a game against a team that I don't like, let's say the Redskins, or now the Washington football team, excuse me. So I can find happiness in their happiness from seeing that team win.
And also, too, if you like different teams and you're both diehards with, it's my team and only my team is the best, your team stinks, it's okay, because that makes life more exciting. That's sparring that you're going to do, because you don't have to agree on every single thing, and you won't agree. And if anyone is out there looking for someone that is going to agree on every single thing that you do and how you live your life, you're never going to find that person. So utilize and recognize the differences that you each have and make it fun rather than a fighting relationship. And that's a big mistake that couples make nowadays, that they'll say, oh no, it's only the Giants. My dumbass girlfriend, she only likes, this. No, you're not going to have that relationship, and no one's going to want a relationship with you with that mentality. Be open and embrace each other's interests, and again, make it a fun sparring experience, regardless of whatever that subject or topic is.
So, I feel like we're very fall and festive right now. We've talked about two fall pillars, football and Halloween, but, we're on Long Island here, and Long Island is a metropolis for fall activities.
Yes, there's so many cute, fun things to do together as a couple.
So one of the things that pops into my head is like apple picking or pumpkin picking.
Yes.
So actually, to tell you the truth, apple picking and pumpkin picking are a lot like dating, aren't they?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You go out.
Nope, don't like this one. Like this one.
So tell me a little bit about some of the fall activities that you would suggest on Long Island, without, just ideas, throwing it out there for people.
Just like what you said, it's a very fun, relaxed date going apple picking and pumpkin picking, because there's no pressure that you have to look perfect. There's no pressure that you have to be at 100%. Most likely there's not going to be alcohol involved, so you're getting to know that real person.
Right.
You know, on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, what that person's real personality is without, say, going to a club or a bar or a party where, again, someone could be drinking, and that is very difficult to get to know someone once you introduce alcohol into a relationship.
Well, there's a lot of inhibitors when you put yourself in that
Yes.
environment, right? There's distractions. There's a game on at a sports bar. There's loud music at
Yes.
a club. There's alcohol at both.
Yes.
You know, are these experiential first few dates more important to recognizing whether there's compatibility there? Because obviously, as we all know, I mean, chemistry is one thing. You could probably
Yes.
pick up chemistry at a bar or at a club or anything along those lines. But is it more important to take those first few dates and develop a relationship through experience?
Yes, and you should try your best to get to know that person as quickly as possible without rushing things, because the average person, it takes about 6 months to find out what their real personality is. If, say, a girl likes a guy, she's going to tell him everything he likes to do, she likes it too. Oh, you like skiing, Bob? I love skiing. Then Bob goes and gets tickets for a weekend up in the mountains skiing. And then all of a sudden she has to speak the truth. Oh, you know, can't make it this weekend. There's only so many excuses that girl can tell Bob about why she doesn't want to go skiing before she actually says, okay, I lied. I don't like skiing. I just said that to get you. Those are things that you should never do. Be yourself, because if you want to find the right person for you, the only way you can do that is by being yourself. And it's okay to say in this scenario, you know what, Bob, you love skiing. That's great. And case in point, like myself, I used to love skiing when I was younger. I had back surgery, so I probably,
Can't do it now.
Yes, skiing is out of the picture. However, I'd still love to come for the weekend, and we'll have romantic dinners together, and, we can have some friends over. And there's other things that we can do for that weekend. While you're skiing, I could do other things. So just be really truthful about who you are, so that the person that you find, you both can see if you connect compatibility-wise, and hopefully yourself, you can speed up that 6-month mark. Because the more you lie and act like you're like that person when you're not, the longer that 6 months is going to take. Statistically speaking, we have a very low chance of finding someone that we're going to be compatible to, only because of so many dynamics of the world these days. It is very difficult. However, there are certain things, of course, that we can do to help that. By going to places that you enjoy going to, you have a better chance of meeting, say, volleyball. I like volleyball. I want to go play in the summer, beach volleyball, and you meet a bunch of people. That will help. Or just going out with mutual friends and seeing how your friends get along with his friends.
So now talk to me. We have pumpkin picking and apple picking. Yes. We have skiing. Probably not.
Nope.
Talk to me a little bit more about what you would recommend. It doesn't have to be particularly this time of year, although, if that's what's on your mind, then share that. What are some good first few dates ideas for people that want to develop and identify compatibility with their potential significant other?
My favorite marketing term in the world, and I'm sure most people know this, but the term KISS. You know what that is, right? Keep it simple,
stupid?
Yes, I love it. And in my 20 years of matchmaking, I've trained over 25 matchmakers personally.
Oh, wow.
And I've had so many different employees that I've taught the business too in one way, shape, or form. I use that all the time. So I love that. Keep it simple, stupid. The same thing goes to not only helping your employees be best at what they can do, but also in your dating life. So you don't have to call the person stupid, but you can say to the guy, okay, let's kiss. As he's reaching over. No, I mean, keep it simple, stupid. Let's go to a Sunday brunch outside because it's beautiful out today and we're lucky that the weather is nice. So, that's something that is very easy to get to know that person's true personality. And again, that is the ticket. If you can speed up the 6-month time frame of what it naturally takes for people to not be able to hide who they are. Okay, people can only do that for so long. And again, it is usually around 6 months. So if you're dating someone more than 6 months, you can pretty much, if you do not have major red flags, if you have 1 or 2 red flags, that's okay because no one's going to be perfect. If you have 3 red flags, move on and just stay friends with that person. So just keep things simple. Don't look for perfection. Be realistic. Have fun with dating and have fun with yourself, getting to know yourself and what you like and what you don't like. And if there are things that you don't like, make sure when you're discussing things of that nature on a date, make sure you always spin things positively because no one wants to be with a Debbie Downer, whether it's a guy or a girl.
Absolutely.
Instant turn off. The moment someone says something negative, that's a huge red flag and you lost that person.
Positivity
right
breeds positivity.
Exactly. I say that every single day, about 100 times a day. What you put out there is what you're going to get.
So you think that having a positive outlook, even in challenging situations, is more telling about a person. If they're negative,
yes,
then it's
right.
almost like a dismissal.
It has to be, because if you're a positive person, and I'm just so blessed with my MTN matchmaking that I have that in my screening process. Everyone has to be positive because I know I cannot change a negative person into a positive person, and I can't make a negative person successful. I can't do it because a negative person, what's that saying? They have a answer for everything.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not good. It's. I know I'm not saying it correctly, but you get
true.
My point. So if you're with someone and you sense negativity, what I would suggest doing first is to say, I don't know if you noticed, but I like to lead a very positive life. And what you're just saying about that person over there, I kind of find that's a little bit negative. So, we could certainly part as friends, and it's a good thing to bring that up, because if that person is nervous, a lot of times on a first date, people say stupid things, not because they're negative, maybe. Even if they've said something negative, it's good to bring that out in the open in a positive way, because if they're nervous, then it could be a factor why.
Right, it could probably come across as being negative.
And that's why I always say to try to go out 3 times, because it does happen. And I don't know one person that could admit to not saying something stupid on a first date.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all done it. So I shouldn't have been so forceful in what I said before. The first time someone says something negative, done. What I should have prefaced it with saying is bring it up and see if that person was nervous, then, okay, they're not a negative person. But that's the key. If you're negative, negativity breeds negativity. Negative people should just gravitate to each other because they do. You'll never see a group of 10 negative people hanging out with one positive friend.
So this brings us to an interesting particular time that we're in right now, right? We're right on the cusp of the holidays.
Yeah.
So I have an interesting question for you, and I can kind of speak from experience. I started seeing my girlfriend now of 2 years, who I love, in late September. Right? We first started really meeting each other's family in late October. I was blessed to be compatible with her and recognize that compatibility.
Yes. Very
But
blessed,
the holidays are obviously right around the corner.
Yes.
How do you determine, or how best would you suggest for people who are early on daters to recognize, is this the time that I introduce them to my family, or is this the time I invite them to Thanksgiving dinner or the large family party? And what are some significant red flags? We all hear about uncomfortable political conversations at the Thanksgiving dinner, which is unideal.
Right, definitely not ideal. Just before I forget, never discuss politics, sex, or religion on a first 3 dates. And certainly, if you're going to someone new and you're meeting their family, never bring up those topics. Because the odds of being in a family unit of, say, 10, 20 different people at Thanksgiving, the odds of everyone agreeing with you are slim to none. So why put out there the opportunity for half the people there to say, oh, I don't like the way she thinks.
I don't like that guy because he disagrees with me or shares a different worldview.
So just keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. And again, just be positive. And I've always felt, and I've said this to the New York Times, as you know, that if you can agree to disagree, you will make your dating life and your relationship life so much easier. If it's your way or the highway, then you better really hope that you meet that other same person that has the exact same thoughts as you do. And that's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Right, which is nearly impossible.
It's really impossible. With that, now, when you're first dating someone, if it's within 6 months, you have to be careful with situations like this if you're meeting on your own because you don't know if you're compatible yet. Now, could it really hurt to spend Thanksgiving together and then just end up finding out you're not compatible and just being friends? No,
kind of zero-sum loss.
Yes,
right?
It's you meet new people. You could always spin things like I do in a positive light. Okay, met great people, even though we're not doing that relationship anymore. But you certainly never, and this is something that I have to mention because it happens every single year. If you're in a relationship over 6 months to a year and the holidays are approaching, this is the biggest time for breakups. I know a lot of people don't realize that. I realize it as a dating coach.
It's the most wonderful time.
Yes, but it's also the biggest and most common time for people to break up. And my dating coaching phone rings off the hook that my couples, even my couples, I'm matching them up. I know they're compatible. I know they have chemistry.
What is it, the money?
Nope. It is the expectations. So keep your expectations in check and know and trust that if you have compatibility and chemistry with that person, it'll eventually work out. But don't have in your mind, I have to want to get engaged by Christmas. Because if that happens, great. If it doesn't happen, that relationship will break up because of all these different factors.
Right,
and
it puts
unrealistic.
unnecessary stress.
Yes,
right?
and it happens every year. They break up. Then I have to do the damage control and get them back together. So if you're in that type of relationship, just don't have the thoughts, I have to, or I better get engaged. Leave it up to fate and trust the person that you're with, that when the timing is right for both of you, not you, because you're not the only one in this relationship. It takes two. So you both have to be in check.
Well, that's some very wise pieces of advice from Long Island's only executive level certified
Thank you. I
matchmaker.
love my 2,000 clients.
There you go, Maureen Tara
Especially
Nelson.
the ones that take my advice.
Well, there you go. Follow Maureen's advice for a happy life and, a happy husband and wife, right?
And check out our website where I give free advice, mtnmatchmaking.com, or give us a call at 1-888-31-MATCH. And, we just do all the work for you. Easy.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you again, everyone, for tuning in.
Yes,
on
thanks,
this
everyone, for
Sunday
listening.
morning.
Happy Sunday.
And thank you again, Maureen, Long Island's
Yes, thank
only
you, Brian.
executive level certified matchmaker. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Again, tuning in on this Sunday morning
Yes,
on
thank you,
KJOY
everyone.
98.3.
See you next week.